Welcome back. We're here with Matt Butler, a ex-Division One national champion turned leadership specialist. Matt, I'm so excited to interview you. We started talking 6-7 months ago. I'm just excited to dive into your journey, you as a man, the things you've learned, and obviously you being a leader. So thank you for coming on the podcast. Very excited to just dive into this.
Easton, I appreciate everything you've done for not only me, but seriously, thank you so much for inspiring others. And just, yeah, I really resonate with your heart. That's why I want to continue to talk to you because, dude, you are a leader in your space as well, my guy.
Thank you for the kind words. We're just going to get right into it. Why is being you a superpower?
Yeah, absolutely. Being me is a superpower and a gift because I am the meest me there is on this planet, my guy. And realistically, everyone has that superpower, right? Everyone that looks different shapes, it comes in different forms, but everyone is themselves to the highest degree, to the nth degree. And so, can you actually block out the filter or the mask that prevents you from showing up fully in this world, in this reality, just as you are? Because you're a gift. You, Easton, are a gift.
How does someone start to strip away the labels, the judgment, the things, the mask, like you said, that they put on themselves when they know that if they be their true authentic self, they would be happier, they would have more purpose, but they're just stuck with the labels that they tell themselves, the anxiety they're in, the judgment that they have of themselves. How do they start that journey of stripping all of that away?
Mm, that's a really good question. I think in my own personal experience, I'll speak from my own personal experience, and then maybe kind of broadcast it out to kind of more context. Yeah, man, self-awareness and observing that voice in your head, okay, and putting a non-judgment filter in your head, right? We all have this brain that we can install whatever filter we want to in there. Okay, so did you go in and install a love filter in your brain, or did you go and install a self-criticism filter in your brain? Okay, that's step one is observing what that filter is in your head, right? And so, can you actually take the moment in your day, even if it's 10 seconds, 20 seconds, to just get curious about your own thoughts, right? With me personally, meditation and stillness has helped quite a bit. I'd say it's the most transformative practice I've done because honestly, Easton, I'm a freaking this is my natural energy, okay? But that served me in a lot of ways. But also too, yeah, stillness for me has really put me in a spot where I can take the time to observe each and every thought that comes in my mind now and really assess whether that came from love or it came from fear or scarcity.
That's beautiful. I
Mhm.
think that's super important to start with the awareness piece of it because I think a lot of people they want to change their life and they they want all these things, but I see a lot of people struggling because they're stuck in that loop or that cycle of negative self-talk or just negative actions or cycles that they almost feel like they're pulled in even though they don't want to fully go in. And I see a lot of people with that struggle. So I think self-awareness is important for just the journey in general.
Yeah.
When you talk about self-awareness too, you you mentioned like meditation was a huge part for you. What does building self-awareness actually look like?
Yeah. Um, Curiosity, leading with curiosity, building self-awareness, also creates audits within your spaces. Okay. And what I mean by that is, when there was a time where I was troubled and I was struggling quite a bit, one of the first things I did was take a look at my environment, right? And I was not putting myself in the right environment. So, how do you do that? Audit your environments that you're putting yourself into. Okay. Get in the spaces that you feel safe enough to actually go inside, go in, and express what you're feeling either out loud to other people that you trust. And if you don't have that space, okay, this is where the leadership comes in. Create that space. Okay, the best space that you can start with is in your head, in your mind. Create a safe space in your mind first. Okay, because if you're in a space in your head and you're allowing other voices, other people to influence you at all times, at least in my own experience, it has created a not safe space in my head. This is where fear came in. This is where I started looking at the the world in a light that I knew was not my highest perspective of light of this world. And this world's beautiful. Man, it
Yeah.
really is. So how can we take what this beautiful world has to give us? Okay, we plant the flowers in our brain. We plant the gardens in our mind first, right? So how do you do that? To me, okay, curiosity of every single thought that comes through. Can you take the extra moment of just ask, was this thought of love or was this thought of fear? Very simple practice. And yeah, again, stillness, sitting in the thoughts, and really controlling your thoughts, and because they want to go every which way,
Yeah.
right?
And kind of next to that self awareness piece is the belief, or just the perspective of our own beliefs. Can you kind of talk about how does our own beliefs shape our reality and our perspective on the world?
Yeah. So I think shout out to my queen here because she definitely helped me. If you guys don't follow Manifest with Kaylee, go. I'm gonna plug my queen. Yeah. So everything, every thought that we have, right? The universe responds. Okay. So if we are looking for things wrong with the world or things that are troublesome in our political environment or social media that is troublesome or causing some anxiety, some sort of fear in your brain, the more you actually think about that, right? If the universe is this vibrational being that actually responds to you, the more you think of those thoughts, the more they will show up in your reality, right? So, how does it shape your perspective? It's again, I think really going back to that love filter, and anything that you see in this world is a reflection of yourself. So that's the radical ownership piece, okay? And it's hard at times to own that. Okay, even within myself, even within my journey, there's been times where I have felt like the world has crumbled and things have been done to me, right? But taking the step away and taking the step back and realizing that you're co-creating this experience in every single moment, okay, you get to dictate how you live this life and how you perceive this world, and the world will actually reward you with beauty.
What I think is beautiful is how you talk about the love filter. And I know, at least in my own experience, and we briefly discussed this before the podcast, it's almost like, and I don't know if this is just our mind, but we auto jump to the fear filter, and we instantly think things are the worst. We're going to mess up. Things are not as good as they are. We're going to make mistakes. So I think it is a subconscious and a conscious journey of switching from a fear filter to the love filter. And I can be Kaylee's own testament to what she pushes is it has impacted my life, and it has changed my life on the days when I look at everything through a filter of love and I track that consciously. I stutter less. I use less filler words. I'm more present. I laugh more. So it has been a life changer to switch from that filter of fear to that filter of love. Do you have anything else you want to add on that topic?
No, just really that everything, I think what Kaylee and I both kind of stand for is everything is a choice. Okay, so every moment is new. Okay, the eternal present moment is always evolving, and in that moment, you get the choice to choose what you believe, right? And I think as people have been conditioned to install a fear filter, which is a beautiful mechanism to survive, right? It is a choice to keep continuing down that path. Every single moment, new moment you get a choice. And at any time, you get the choice to install that love filter.
Beautiful. Can you be a leader and still have things to work on?
Absolutely. In fact, I would argue from my own personal experience that the leaders are the ones consistently working or like you can be an inspiration, you can be a person who leads many people, many different disciplines, okay? But the leader also recognizes that there is no finite cap to how much you can learn. We're human on a finite timeline right now, okay? We're also a soul going eternally, but I'll stick to this timeline right now. We don't, right, get to learn everything in this lifetime. So it's naive of a leader, okay, to be like, I know everything and therefore I'm going to stop working. When in fact, the single thing that most people hang on to following a leader is, are they continuing in that pursuit? That single trait that they observe, they actually take that and they go, hey, this person knows a lot or is the leader in whatever space, and they're still continuing to grow. That energy is so potent and so contagious that in itself will help people as they follow a leader.
I think it's the authentic nature when someone embraces their flaws and realizes they're not perfect and is vulnerable is when people want to follow them even more than
A
trying to be
hundred
perfect.
100%. Even especially Easton with men, dude. I'm sure you can kind of attest to this. Man, men vulnerability. Luckily, it's on the rise. I think I'm optimistic. It's on the rise. But as a man, you're conditioned not to be vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
But man, what a permission slip! If the leader is vulnerable and gives you that permission slip to actually like not be okay sometimes. Oh man, if a man cries, like that's actually a superpower in itself. And so vulnerability and authenticity, especially in the rise of AI, okay, again, a very powerful tool. AI is a beautiful blessing, right? But authenticity and vulnerability will be the one and kind of unique gift that keeps us human, right? And people will be attracted to human, especially as intelligence on the AI side starts to rise more and more. Authenticity will
Yes,
slow it out.
I agree.
Yeah.
And when someone is a leader and they're having to have those crucial conversations, you get that feeling and you're like, I have to tell someone something bad or I have to make a conversation happen that I don't want to make happen. How do you think a leader properly goes about doing that while still staying in that love filter, that authentic way of living?
Yes. I actually had a coaching student ask me this. This is a really good question because I hadn't really reflected on it yet. But what I came to was, in all honesty, okay, you know that you have a pure heart and you are loving someone and you want to help someone, right? So, an approach or a frame that I have been taking as of recently is just, hey, I'm going to be so honest with you right now, man. You know that everything I say is out of love, right? And I get that permission from them first. Okay. And if there's a discrepancy there, there hasn't been yet, which is cool. But if there's ever a discrepancy, I want to make sure that I tackle that first and make sure like, hey, anything that comes out of my mouth next, I actually have permission to say because I love you. Because at the end of the day, if I love you, I'm going to also hold you to whatever higher standard we're talking about, right? As a leader. So, brother or sister, I love you so much. Are you open? Are you open to this? And if they say yes, that's where I can, just be very, very transparent. I tend to not have a filter after that. I go, yeah, man, you've gained 20 pounds. You've done this. Like, you promised me and yourself and your family that you were going to commit to this. Okay. What does your highest self want? And it's okay that this conversation is happening now because what fuel and what a beautiful reminder it is that you're going to hold yourself accountable, right? And it's not demoralizing them. It's like hey, this is the now. Okay, that's in the past. Hey, that's good notes. That's good data. All right, from here, let's move.
Love it. I a lot of people I feel like struggle with those crucial conversations because it's
Yep.
something that we know we have to have. And I think when you lead in with transparency, especially when the person knows that you care about them, and I think in relationships, especially dating relationships, when you can have that conversation where it's you and the person against the problem and not you versus the other person is a crucial mindset shift to have because it creates a place where it's like, hey, I love you so much that we're gonna tackle this problem together and make each other better.
Yes, that is like it's team. You guys are a team moving against the quote unquote enemy in that moment, right?
Yes.
And so, especially as a leader, are you actually willing to roll up your sleeves and get in the trenches with them? With them, not against them, not above them, not below them, with them, in the trenches with them.
I actually wanted to ask this question a little bit later, but we're just gonna do it now.
Yeah. Fricken.
you you mentioned men having a struggle, being vulnerable, not wanting to cry, not wanting to talk about their emotions, not wanting to kind of just embrace their struggle and express it. How, as a masculine man, do you still express and be vulnerable with someone that you love, but still having them feel protected and feel like you care, especially when it's the masculine man expressing their thoughts and crying to their feminine counterpart?
This is a beautiful, beautiful question. Dude, I love you. Okay. I really love you. Yeah. Um, I truly believe that all women or partners in the feminine energy, okay, um, man, they're queens, right? They're truly queens. Yeah. And so as men, we step into our divine masculine and our king. Okay. That does not mean that you have to be a certain way 24/7. You know what that means? You know what the queen wants? The queen wants protection. She wants unconditional love, and she wants to know that whatever you're doing is actually helping you, the family, and her move towards the same goal. And so I think what we're seeing is kind of a rise of what I'm kind of coining or calling leadership behind the throne. Okay? You know who's on the throne? The queen. Right now, Kaylee, she's on the throne, bro. You know, like she's on the throne. She's leading because she can. And you know what the king's job is? To protect her. Okay? But you also know what protection is? Is protection is, hey, babe, or hey, partner, I'm feeling this kind of way, and I know that um, this may come off as whatever. Okay, this is not weakness. I just want to show you that I'm tuned into my emotions, and I truly am wanting what's best for me right now. But I need to get this off my chest. And after I get this off my chest, I'm going to be protective. I'm going to be back in that masculine, but I need this space and I would love your help and support doing this. And so I think that comes with a lot of communication as well, being able to explain and articulate like that. But yeah, I think framing it in like a hey, I really need this right now. And also what I will do because you're giving me this space and allowing me to do this, I will double down on being the protector right after this.
So just because you express your feelings and be vulnerable doesn't mean you instantly lose that that like I guess masculine vibe.
Yeah. No, not in my eyes. In fact, I think the most manly thing you can do is be emotional, right? Be emotionally intelligent and be emotionally in tune with your partner, right? And yes, there's time and place to, step up to be quote unquote the I would say the traditional view of masculine. Yeah. You have to have that tool as well. These are all tools in your toolkit, right? And the kings that are able to actually I would say do all of it, protect the partner, be emotional, have the wide range of things, has many tools in his belt, right? And so that tool belt takes time to develop. And yeah, it's a never-ending game, is what I'm finding.
Yes. Love it. Now I want to dive into your just your struggle and your journey with type 1 diabetes. Can you kind of just give us like an overview of like what it is first of all so like people can kind of like understand what you were struggling with or like what you still are struggling with?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when I was 13. Um, at the time, I was playing, five sports, travel ball, everything you could think of, and just in shape and everything. I had not really even heard of type 1 diabetes. I ended up losing 30 pounds in a week. My blood sugar was about 600. I almost died. I got taken to the hospital. I could not open my eyes, and stayed in the hospital for about 2 months as a kid. But what that has manifested into was, through my life, I just viewed myself as an ordinary kid, and I didn't really take care of my diabetes, to be completely transparent with you and to be vulnerable. Is like I went through college, I partied, I kind of like neglected it because I was like, I'm superhuman. This won't impact me. And it caught up with me, dude. I ended up getting diagnosed with diabetic retinopathy, which is essentially, your body is very good at healing yourself, as I know you know, right? The only thing that's not good at really healing itself are your eyeballs. And so, with excess blood sugar over time, what happens is you get abnormal blood vessels in your eyes. Okay, the boundaries get leaky, they actually pop, they scar at the back of your retinas, and they pull on the back of your retina. And that's why, if you hear diabetics, they go blind all the time. It's because they literally are pulling at the back of the retina. The scar tissue is causing too much pressure. So I got diagnosed with very, very mild retinopathy a couple years ago. And around the same time, in all honesty, I lost feeling in my feet. Okay, diabetic peripheral neuropathy was essentially the nerves dying off because of excess blood sugar and because I didn't take care of my diabetes. Again, I was a kid, right? And I was a young adult. I wanted to enjoy life. I didn't future pace. I didn't think what the future would hold. Um, but yeah, that was a struggle. I thought, there's a good 2 years where I every day thought my body was dying on me. And there's times where I thought I was going to just die. And I wouldn't say I ever got suicidal per se, but I started getting a very, very grim outlook on life and said, what's the point? If I'm just going to die this slow death, what's the point? Um, what's beautiful about this, and I want to hammer in that if you're type 1 diabetic out there, I feel you, I love you, please shoot me a message because it is hard and any partner's going through it too. But um you know i I had to go through this transmutation. I had to really change my mind and change the way that I approach life to decide, right? Like, I'm a fighter, okay? But also, there's an element of surrender, and it's a fine dance where fighter dances with
Yeah.
surrender, right? You fight as hard as you can day by day, but at times you got to surrender to the bigger plan, right? And that really, really helped me. But now, I've stepped in and I've conquered a lot of that, and I've regenerated my feet nerves, okay, through my own health and wellness practices, which I'm helping people do right now. And yeah, I mean, I was getting shots in my eyes once a week, Easton. So like a needle straight in my eyeball. I'm
Oof.
sure you can imagine. You're looking straight at it. You can't close your eyes. It sucks. But yeah, I that made me tougher, man. I still to this day, you can't see it, Easton, but I have one little black dot right here on the inside of my left eye. And so when I go to sleep, when I wake up, I see that 24/7. And you know what I do? Is I look at that, and what a beautiful reminder it is that I am mortal, that I get to choose how to live this freaking life. Okay, so like the ability to transmute a lot of dark times and hold the frequency of love in my life has been a very, very beneficial skill for myself.
Do you think this ability to look at life in a positive manner and go through all of the negative situations you've been through and still hold a optimistic outlook on life is a skill you learned? Do you think it's something that you picked up from your parents? Do you think it was environmental? Like, why do you have such a optimistic life on life when other people have gone through less and are not as optimistic?
Yeah. Um, I will shout out my parents because I have very, very loving and beautiful parents. And so they they have a very optimistic view on life, and that definitely has bled over to me. And then I think a culmination of my experiences through life and having to go through our unique past, right? Like my unique journey to this point. And so everyone has a unique journey, right? No one has one of the same journey. Okay. And so I think for me, I haven't really reflected on this, but I'm just going to say what's on my heart. It feels as though um, the culmination of all these things happening, like, was the universe saying you are meant to go through this so that you can actually share this specific message. The message of you get the choice, you get to decide how you view the world. And whatever you've been through in the past, that's your superpower. That's what makes you unique.
Love that. I agree completely. I
Yeah.
think your ability to look at life and be optimistic and look at everything you've been through and like look at everything I've overcome and I've accomplished. Why can't I keep pushing?
Yeah. Heck yeah. Pushing and surrendering, man.
Yes,
You push as hard as you can and you surrender to the outcome.
I agree completely. So, with you being a D1 uh, national champion in volleyball, when you
Yep.
won that national championship and that last point was scored. How did that make you feel?
It was the single greatest moment of my entire life, Easton. It was everything not just you, but your brothers had worked for, right? And for backstory, 2 years prior, we had been to the Final Four. We had been there and lost, and just seeing the other team celebrate, man, I do want to get into the backstory because I think this will give some people some inspiration, but that final point to celebrate with your brothers for everything you've worked for years and years and years, it's family, man. Like family just did it. Yeah, and so even leading up to that year, 2018 starts, senior year. I'm captain. We had just lost 2 years before. Coming into this year, this was the year that I was supposed to quote unquote start for the team. Okay, I was supposed to contribute on the court as a starter. Blah blah blah. All this ego stuff in my head. Okay, um, get there. The very first practice, we have 5 guys on the national team, which we had a very, very good team, right? 5 guys. It's a captain's practice, which means there's no coaches. Very first day of the year, they decide they're not going to show up because it's not mandatory, right? So, as the captain, there's a choice there. It's like, okay, let them slide because they're on the national team. I'm sure they've been training all year, like they haven't really got a break, or set the tone for the year that you want to win, right? So, for every minute that they were late, they had to do 5 burpees. Okay, where you jump up, touch the ground, jump up, touch the ground. All of them weren't going to do their burpees. It equated to about 1,900 burpees. So I approached them about it as the leader, said lovingly, like, you guys better do your burpees because this is what we're setting. This is the precedent for the year. If you guys want to win a national championship, this is what we're doing. None of them said no. They all said, no, we're good. So instead, me and one other guy, Bjarn Hus, shout out Bjarn Hus if you ever watch this. Great dude. But him and I decided, fine, we'll do those burpees for him. We won't even say anything. We'll do those burpees as they come into the weight room 2 hours later. Okay, so they come in, I'm on the last burpee I remember counting was 1,180. So I'm sure have you ever done close to a
Yeah.
thousand burpees? Dude,
No, 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 not that many.
dude. So we do it. The whole team, one by one, filters in. They start doing it, and the whole team starts doing it. And this is a very extreme example, but that was the tone that we set. Well, that night I couldn't lift my arms. Something was happening with me. I ended up going into what's called rhabdomyolysis, which literally your muscles break down so hard, a bunch of CrossFit people get it, that it secretes poison in your body. And my kidneys, as a type 1 diabetic, are at risk. Both of my kidneys shut down for a quick second. They thought I was going to die. So I got sent in the hospital for a month. I missed my entire preseason. I came back, and me and the guy fighting for the starting spot, I looked him straight in the eyes and said, "Listen, I don't care if I start or you start, but just know if you start, I'm gonna push you so freaking hard. Either of us, one of us is gonna be the best libero in the nation." And so, dude, we would show up. Weight room opened at 5. I'd show up at 4. He would show up at 3:45. I would show up at 3:30 a.m. Easton in the dark. It didn't even open for an hour and a half, just to like show each other that we wanted to push each other. And yeah, long story short, it ended up in a national championship, and that was the energy we carried through the team. And I did that in the pro team. I know how to push people. I know how to cultivate championship culture, and it's through love, man. It's through ultimate love.
It sounds like you've learned, especially through that journey, how to find love through the suffering and have other people find love through the suffering.
Mm. I Yeah. Let's see. In all honesty, yes. I haven't really reflected on that, but that makes total sense. Yeah, I do. I don't want to be addicted to suffering by any means, but I think there's a depth of love that you can access in the suffering, and especially suffering together and pushing people together towards a common goal. Absolutely.
Love it. I have one more question for you, and you have to know what question this is.
Okay, bring it on.
What
I know.
is what is your favorite thing about yourself?
Let's go. Oh, I try to reflect on this daily, because number one, thank you for that question, and who thinks about that all the time, right? And what if you actually thought about it all the time? What's your favorite thing about yourself? You said, and so for me right now, I'm really appreciative of my ability to hold the frequency of love, even in dark spaces, and even when others can't necessarily see it themselves, being able to hold others' visions as well, right? I think as a kind of culmination of that, I do see the gifts in everyone, and maybe I don't see all the gifts, right? Whatever they're willing to show me, but I do see all the beautiful gifts in people. The first thing I notice about people is just their aura and just like the love that they're emitting. And if it's high, if it's low, and if it's low, I'm just like, you know what? Their past is probably so beautiful, and I'm so stoked for when they like embrace who they are. So yeah,
Thank you for sharing that.
yeah.
Matt, that's all the questions I have for you. How can people find you? And what is one thing you want to leave people with?
Yes. They can find me by following me on Instagram. It's literally matt.fricken.butler because I'm the meest me there is, baby. Come on, and you're the youest you are. Yeah, and I think the one thing I want to leave people with is it's a choice, right? You get to decide in every single moment how you want to perceive this life, how you want to attack this life. And your past is a beautiful, beautiful hero's journey, but the only thing that matters is your decision in the right now, because you can change your life in an instant if you really want to choose to. So,
Thank you, Matt. I just want to say this was beautiful. I loved how we got deep into your journey, your soul. You expressed some things that I loved. So I just want to say thank you for coming on the podcast, man. It was a great conversation and just always love chatting with you.
yeah, thank you for having me, dude. Seriously, like big air hug across space and time to you. Yeah.
I love it. That's awesome.
Good.
Well, thank you, Matt.